Step 5 for the easiest beginner method is learning how to make a yellow cross. We just finished solving the first two layers, and now we'll be focusing on this last layer. So I'll be using this trainer cube, which focuses on all of the yellow pieces. These colors right here are just a reference point that represents our first two layers being solved, but we're not worried about the first two layers anymore. We're just worried about the yellow pieces in this last layer. First, I'll be showing how to make a yellow cross on this trainer cube, and then I'll show how to do it on a regular cube. And remember, we're focused on the yellow cross with yellow edge pieces, so we're not worried about these corners. So if you ever have a yellow cross and some yellow corners that are confusing you, remember you can always cover the corners up so you can just focus to see if you have a yellow cross. So the first thing you want to do in step 5 is actually check if you have a yellow cross. If you already have a yellow cross, then step 5 is done and you can move on to step 6. So for a side note, once you get to the last layer, sometimes steps will be skipped. So from now on for steps 5 through 8, you always first want to check if the step is already done. And if it's done, just skip that step and move on to the next one. So if we finish the first two layers, and we had this case where we have a yellow cross, we would move on to step 6. For example, in the previous video, when we learned how to solve the first two layers, when we finished solving the first two layers, we actually had a yellow cross. So that would be an example where we would skip to step 6. However, most of the time, once you finish solving the first two layers, you will have a case like this where you don't have a yellow cross. So I'll be teaching you step 5 on how to make a yellow cross. First, we're going to learn the moves to make a yellow cross. First, you turn the front face clockwise. Then you're going to do the right hand sexy move. So R, U, R prime, U prime. Then you're going to turn the front counterclockwise. So again, that's the front clockwise. Then the right hand sexy move. R, U, R prime, U prime. And then the front counterclockwise. So the official names for these moves are F, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime. In other words, F, sexy, F prime. You can't just do these moves from anywhere though, so we will have to learn 3 different cases so that we can know how to hold the cube before we start the moves. So what you're going to do for step 5 is first check if you have a yellow cross. If you don't have a yellow cross, then you need to figure out which of the 3 cases you have. Once you know the case you have, then you'll do the moves that I just showed you. Then after you do the moves, you'll check if you have a yellow cross. If you don't have a yellow cross yet, repeat it again. You see which case you have, do the moves, and check if you have a yellow cross. You'll keep repeating these steps until you have your yellow cross. So the first thing we're going to do is check if we have a yellow cross. We don't, so this brings us to our first case. This is the dot case, where you have no other yellow edges, you only have a yellow center. You might have some yellow corners, but remember, we're not worried about corners. Dot case is actually the easiest case because it doesn't matter which side you do the moves from. As long as you keep white always on the bottom, yellow always on the top, you can do the moves looking at any side. So because for dot case we can choose any side, let's just do the moves looking at this side. So first we turn the front clockwise. Then we do the right hand sexy move, R, U, R prime, U prime. Then we turn the front counterclockwise. Now that we've finished the moves, we check if we have a yellow cross. We don't have a yellow cross yet, so this brings us to our second case. This case is called the L case. Depending on how you hold the cube, these edges in the center make a little L. So for the L shape, it actually matters which way you hold the cube. You actually want to hold it exactly how we have it, where we have this yellow edge in the front and this one on the right. So you have the L shape kind of in this front right corner. If you ever have the L shape up here, you would want to rotate the cube until you have the L in this front right corner. So once you have the L in this front right corner, this is going to be your front face. So now that you know how to hold the cube for this case, you can start the moves. So we'll do F, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime. Now that we've completed the moves, we check if we have a yellow cross. We still don't have a yellow cross, so this brings us to our third and final case, which is called the line case. For the line case, you always want the line to be sideways. So you can turn the cube either way as long as the line is sideways, then that means this is the front of your cube. Now that we have the line sideways, we're looking at the front of the cube, so we can do the moves. F, sexy, F prime. Now that we've done the moves, we check if we have a yellow cross. We do have a yellow cross. Remember, if the yellow corners confuse you can cover it, but as long as you have all 4 yellow edges, you have completed the yellow cross, so step 5 is done. So the first thing we do is check if we have a yellow cross. We don't, so we have to see which case we have. We don't have any yellow edges, so this is a dot case. Remember, you can cover your corners if it's confusing you. We're worried about edges, and there are no edges, it's just a dot. So for dot case, we can choose any side as our front, as long as we keep white on the bottom and yellow on top. So let's just use this as our front. So the first thing we'll do is F, right hand sexy move, and F prime. Then we check if we have a yellow cross. We don't have a yellow cross, we just have these 2 yellow edges. So if we cover the yellow corners, we see that we have this L case. So that brings us to our second case. Remember, you can cover these yellow corners. We see we only have these 2 yellow edges, so that makes the L case. For the L case, remember we want the L in this front right corner right here, where we have a yellow edge in the front and on the right. So that means we're already holding the cube the right way. This is the front, so now we can do the moves. And the moves are F, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime. Now we check if we have a yellow cross. We still don't have a yellow cross. So that brings us to our third and final case, which is the line case. If you cover these corners, we see we just have a straight line. So remember, for the line case, you can turn the cube either way as long as the line is sideways. Now that the line is sideways, we're looking at the front of the cube, so now we can do the moves. F, sexy, F prime. Now we check if we have a yellow cross. You can always cover that yellow corner if it's confusing you, but as we see, we have a yellow cross, so step 5 has been completed. Just for a little side note before we finish this video, I just want to show a couple possibilities you might have that confuse people a lot of the times. For this first confusing case, when you're trying to see if you have a yellow cross and you notice you don't have a yellow cross, some people see an L here, or a line there, and they don't know if it's L or line. Remember, always cover yellow corners. We're worried about edges. So here you see it's clearly a line case. So you just want to make sure that the line is sideways. For this next confusing case, a lot of people see a bunch of different L's and they're not sure which one to choose. Remember, again, always cover the corners that are confusing you. We're making a cross, so we're worried about edges. This is clearly an L once you cover those corners. So remember, for the L case, you want to have it in this front right corner here. So this would be how you hold the cube for this case. So that is all for step 5 of the easiest beginner method, where we learn how to make a yellow cross. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next video.